"Give me the one they call useless," the Duke declared, refusing 10 noble brides. The great hall fell silent. 10 noble brides stood in a perfect line, each placed with care, each arranged like a living display of wealth and alliance. Silk shimmered under the chandelier light. Jewels caught every flicker and threw it back in sharp glints. Their gowns whispered against the polished marble floor whenever one shifted her weight, though none dared to move too much. They had been trained for stillness, for poise, for this exact moment. Before the story continues, take a second to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy stories like this. More werewolf drama and powerful alpha stories are coming soon. Every eye in the hall rested on them. Every expectation, every calculation, every quiet ambition. And at the far end, seated on a raised platform carved from dark stone, the Duke watched. Or rather, he appeared to. His posture was perfect. Straight back, hands resting lightly on the arms of his chair. Expression controlled. Cold. Distant. Unreadable. One by one, each noble family had presented their daughter. Each introduction filled with praise carefully rehearsed over months. Graceful. Educated. Virtuous. A perfect match. The words blended together. None of it seemed to reach him. A faint crease formed between the brows of the first bride in line. She had expected attention. At least a glance. A question. Something to acknowledge her presence. It did not come. The second bride adjusted her posture slightly, angling her face toward the light. She knew how to be seen. Still nothing. By the time the 10th was presented, tension had begun to spread beneath the surface of the room. It was subtle. A tightening of smiles. A stiffness in shoulders. A flicker of uncertainty behind carefully trained expressions. The Duke had not reacted once. Not a nod. Not a word. The silence stretched longer than it should have. A court official cleared his throat softly, stepping forward. "My Duke," he began, voice smooth but cautious. "Before you stand 10 of the finest daughters of the noble houses. Each one." Enough. The word cut through the air. Sharp. Clean. The official stopped instantly. The Duke rose. Slow. Controlled. The faint echo of his movement carried across the hall, louder than it should have been. Or perhaps the silence simply made it feel that way. Every eye turned fully to him now. This was it. The choice. The alliances that would shape power for years. He stepped forward, descending from the platform. One step. Two. The brides straightened almost in unison. Each one preparing. Each one certain that when he stopped, it would be in front of her. He did not slow. He walked past the first. Past the second. A flicker of confusion crossed their faces. By the fourth, the confusion deepened. By the seventh, something sharper appeared. Doubt. Offense. By the 10th, the entire line felt it. Something was wrong. The Duke reached the end of the line. He did not turn back immediately. Instead, he stood there for a brief moment, as if considering something far more distant than the room itself. Then he spoke. "Give me the one they call useless." The words did not land all at once. They spread. A ripple through still water. At first, no one moved. No one seemed to understand. Then came the whispers. Soft. Disbelieving. What did he say? Useless. That must be a mistake. A few nervous laughs surfaced, quickly stifled. The court official blinked, clearly uncertain. "My Duke, I am not certain I understand." There is. The Duke's voice remained calm. "Certain. If you love stories where the overlooked rise, stay till the end." He turned his head slightly, not toward the brides, but beyond them, toward the edges of the hall, where importance faded, where attention rarely lingered, and where, half-shadowed by a tall marble pillar, stood a girl no one had thought to include. She had not been placed in line. No one had introduced her. No silk. No jewels. Her dress was simple, clean, but plain. The kind that did not catch light or attention. Her hands were clasped together, fingers slightly rough, marked by work not meant for noble daughters. When the Duke's gaze settled in her direction, it took a moment for others to follow. And when they did, the reaction came fast. That one. A noble woman covered her mouth, unable to hide her shock. The servant girl? No. Another whispered, voice edged with quiet cruelty. She is worse than that. She is the one they could not place. The one no one wanted. A few smiles appeared. Not kind ones. The girl lowered her head the moment she realized she had been seen. Her instinct was immediate. Disappear. but there was nowhere to go. The Duke stepped forward again, not toward the line, toward her. Each step echoed, measured, unhurried, and with every step, the room shifted further from confusion into something heavier. Realization. He passed the line of noble brides completely, leaving them behind without a glance. Silk and jewels meant nothing to him, not even worth a look. The insult hung thick in the air, but no one dared speak. Not yet. He stopped in front of the girl. Up close, she seemed even smaller than before. Not because she lacked presence, but because she had been taught not to take space. Her shoulders were slightly drawn in, her gaze fixed downward. "What is your name?" the Duke asked. For a moment, she did not answer. Not because she refused, because she was unsure she had the right. "My lord," she said quietly, as if confirming the question was truly meant for her. "What is your name?" he repeated. "Alara," she said. Her voice was soft, but steady. The Duke studied her. Not her clothes, not her status. Her. "You were not presented." It was a statement, not a question. "No, my lord." "Why?" There was a pause. Long enough for the room to lean in. Long enough for expectation to build. Then she answered. "They said I was not worth presenting." The words were simple. No bitterness. No defense. Just truth. A few quiet chuckles slipped through the crowd. The Duke did not react to them. Something shifted in his expression. Not amusement. Interest. "Look at me," he said. Alara hesitated. Then, slowly, she lifted her gaze. For a brief second, their eyes met. It was enough. There was no fear in hers. No calculation. Only a quiet kind of awareness. As if she saw more than she said. As if she understood something the rest of the room did not. She lowered her eyes again quickly. But the moment had already passed. The Duke turned, facing the court. "I will marry her." The reaction was immediate. Gasps cut through the air. Voices rose. "This is absurd. You cannot be serious. She has no standing. You insult every house here." The carefully controlled court shattered into noise. Years of planning. Alliances. Power. Dismissed in a single sentence. A nobleman stepped forward, unable to contain himself. "My Duke, this is not a decision made in isolation. Marriage binds houses. It shapes the future. You would throw that away for. I would choose as I see fit." The Duke's voice did not rise. It did not need to. It cut through the noise with ease. The nobleman faltered, but others did not. "This is reckless. This is beneath you. You weaken your own position." The Duke raised his hand. Silence followed instantly. "You will not guess what happens next. Keep watching." Not out of respect. Out of instinct. "I did not ask for your approval." Each word landed with weight. Final. He turned back to Alara. "Do you accept?" Her heart pounded. This was not something she had prepared for. Not something she had ever imagined. She had spent her life being overlooked. Set aside. Defined by what she lacked. And now, every eye in the hall was on her. Waiting. Judging. Measuring. She could feel it. But beneath that, there was something else. The way he had looked at her. Not past her. Not through her. At her. That had never happened before. "Yes, my lord," she said. Quiet. Certain. The Duke nodded once. "It is done." No ceremony. No celebration. Just a decision. And the weight of it. He turned and began to walk. Not looking back. Alara hesitated for only a fraction of a second. Then she followed. Each step felt louder than it should have. As if the entire hall was listening to the sound of her crossing a line she could never return from. Behind them, the whispers began again. "She will not last. This is a mistake. He will regret it. She is useless." The word followed her. It always had. But now it sounded different. Not because it had changed. Because something else had. For the first time in her life. She had been chosen. And the court had no idea what that would set in motion. The corridor beyond the great hall felt colder. Not because of the stone. Because of what had just happened. Alara walked 2 steps behind the Duke. Close enough to follow. Far enough to avoid notice. It was how she had always moved through the world. Except now, nothing about this felt familiar. Servants lined the walls as they passed. Heads bowed. Eyes lowered. Yet even in that stillness, she felt it. Attention. Curiosity held tight behind discipline. They knew. News traveled faster than footsteps in a place like this. The Duke did not slow. He did not speak. He moved with the same steady pace, as if he had not just overturned the expectations of an entire court. Alara kept her gaze down, focusing on the floor ahead. The marble was veined with dark lines that twisted like frozen rivers. It gave her something to follow, something that did not look back at her. They turned a corner, then another. The sounds of the court faded behind them, replaced by a quieter kind of silence. Not empty, controlled, private. At last, the Duke stopped. Alara halted instantly, almost too quickly, catching herself before she stepped too close. He turned to face her. Up close, the weight of his presence felt different. Not louder, not harsher, sharper. "You walk like you expect to disappear," he said. The words were not unkind. They were precise. Alara hesitated. "I was taught not to be in the way, my lord." "You are in my way now," he replied. Her breath caught. "I apologize." "Do not." That stopped her. He studied her again, the same way he had in the hall. Not rushed, not distracted. "You answered without excuse," he said. "I spoke the truth. Most people do not." She did not know how to respond to that, so she said nothing. Silence stretched for a moment, but it did not feel uncomfortable. It felt measured, like he was deciding something. "You will need to stop shrinking," he said finally. Alara blinked. "My lord, if you remain as you are, they will break you," he said. Not openly, not quickly, but they will. There was no threat in his tone, only certainty. She believed him. "I do not know how to be anything else," she admitted. "Then you will learn." The statement was simple, final, as if the matter was already settled. A servant approached quietly, stopping at a respectful distance. "My duke, preparations are being requested. The council demands." "They will wait." "Yes, my duke." The servant hesitated, then glanced, just briefly, at Alara. Not openly, but enough. Curiosity, judgment, confusion. Alara felt it. The duke noticed. "Look at her properly," he said. The servant froze. "My lord, you looked. Now look without hiding it." The servant's posture tightened, but he obeyed. He lifted his gaze fully to Alara. It was not a kind look. It was assessing, measuring her worth and finding little. Alara held still. The instinct to lower her gaze returned, strong and immediate. But she remembered what the Duke had said. "You will need to stop shrinking." Slowly, she lifted her eyes, met the servant's gaze. It lasted only a second, but it was longer than she had ever allowed before. The servant looked away first. "Good," the Duke said quietly. The servant bowed quickly and withdrew. Alara released a breath she had not realized she was holding. "That felt wrong," she said. "It felt unfamiliar," the Duke corrected. "There is a difference." She considered that. He turned and began walking again. "This way." She followed. They moved deeper into the private wing of the estate. The architecture shifted subtly. Less display, more function, fewer decorations, cleaner lines. This was not a place meant to impress. It was a place meant to operate. They stopped before a large door guarded by two men in dark uniforms. They stepped aside immediately. The Duke entered without pause. Alara followed. The room inside was vast, but not ornate. Shelves lined the walls, filled with documents, maps, ledgers. A large table stood at the center, covered in neatly arranged papers. This was where decisions were made. Real ones. The Duke moved to the table and picked up a document without sitting. "You can read?" he asked without looking at her. "Yes, my lord." "Come here." She stepped closer, careful but steady. He placed the document in front of her. "Read this." Alara glanced at the page. It was a trade report. Numbers, routes, losses. Her eyes moved quickly, faster than most would expect. She did not comment immediately. The Duke watched her. "You read quickly," he noted. "I had time," she said. "Explain it." She looked at the page again, then spoke. "The northern route is failing," she said. "Losses increase each month. The cost of maintaining it now exceeds the value it brings." The Duke said nothing. She continued. "The southern route shows lower volume, but stable profit. It could support expansion if resources are shifted." Still nothing. She hesitated, then added, "The report suggests patience. That losses might recover, but the pattern does not support that." The Duke set another paper beside the first. "Compare it to last season." She did. The pattern held. Decline in one, stability in the other. He leaned slightly against the table. "And your conclusion?" Alara took a breath. "Close the northern route," she said. "Reinforce the southern one, before the losses spread." Silence. Then, a small shift in his expression. "Approval." "Good," he said. The word was quiet, but it carried weight. Alara blinked, caught off guard. I only said what was clear, she said. It was clear to you, he replied. Not to those who wrote it. That settled heavily. He took the documents back. You were called useless, he said. Why? The question landed deeper than the others. Alara's fingers tightened slightly at her sides. I was not skilled in what they valued, she said. Which is presentation, charm, compliance. And instead, she hesitated. Observation, she said. Understanding. Quiet things. The Duke nodded once. They do not reward quiet things, he said. No, my lord. They should. Another pause. Then he spoke again. The council will challenge this decision. I expected that. They will test you. She did not respond immediately. Then, softly, I expected that too. A faint shift crossed his face again. Not surprise. Recognition. Good, he said. He set the documents aside. You will not be protected from it. I understand. You will be watched. I am used to that. They will try to make you fail. She met his gaze again. This time, she did not look away. I am used to that too. Silence. Then, something almost like satisfaction. Then perhaps they chose the wrong word, he said. Alara did not answer. But something inside her shifted. Small, but real. Outside the room, footsteps approached quickly. Urgent. A knock followed. My Duke, the council insists. They are gathering now. The Duke exhaled slowly. Of course they are. He looked at Alara. This is where it begins. She nodded. No fear in her face. Not because she felt none. Because she had lived with it long enough to move anyway. Stay close, he said. I will. He moved toward the door. Alara followed. As it opened, the quiet of the private room gave way to something sharper. Voices. Tension. Expectation building into confrontation. The court was not finished. It was only getting started. The council chamber was already full. Voices overlapped. Low at first. Controlled. Then rising in sharp edges as more nobles arrived. The air felt heavier than the great hall. Less polished. More dangerous. This was where power argued. Not for show. For control. The moment the Duke entered, the room shifted. Not to silence. But to focus. Every voice dropped just enough. Every eye turned. Alara stepped in behind him. This time, no one pretended not to see her. The looks came openly now. Direct. Unfiltered. Measured. Dismissed. The long table at the center of the room was lined with seats, each marked by status and influence. The highest-ranking nobles sat closest to the head. The rest filled in by importance. One seat remained empty. The Duke's. He did not sit. Not yet. You called this gathering, he said, voice even. Speak. A man near the center leaned forward. Older. Sharp features. Eyes that had spent years weighing advantage. Lord Harvin. My Duke, he began, tone respectful but tight. We seek clarity. You have it. A ripple of restrained frustration moved through the table. With respect, Harvin continued. You made a decision that affects every house in this chamber. Without counsel. Without discussion. I made a choice, the Duke said. It requires neither. That is not how alliances function. It is today. The tension sharpened. Another voice joined in. Lady Morkant. Calm. Controlled. Dangerous in a quieter way. You reject 10 houses, she said. 10 alliances. 10 opportunities to strengthen your position. And instead, you choose. Her gaze flicked briefly to Alara. Uncertainty. I chose deliberately, the Duke replied. Then explain it. The room leaned in. Not out of curiosity. Out of challenge. The Duke remained still. No. The word landed flat. Final. A few nobles shifted, caught between restraint and rising anger. You owe this council reasoning, Harvin pressed. I do not. You risk division. I expect it. That answer did not ease anything. It confirmed what they feared. Another noble stood. Younger. Less controlled. This is not a private matter, he said. You place someone untested, untrained, and unfit into a position that holds influence over all of us. Alara felt the weight of every word. Unfit. The room agreed. Silently. Loudly. The Duke finally moved. Not to sit. To step forward. Say what you mean, he said. The younger noble did not hesitate. She is nothing. The words echoed. Clear. Unapologetic. A few others did not hide their agreement. The Duke tilted his head slightly. Nothing, he repeated. No title. No alliance. No value to this court. Silence followed. Heavy. Expectant. The Duke turned slightly. Just enough to look at Alara. Step forward. Her body reacted before her thoughts did. One step, then another. She stopped at his side. The space felt different here. Exposed. Unprotected. Look at them, he said. She did. This time, she did not lower her gaze. Not immediately. She let herself see them. Really see them. Faces she had only ever glanced at from a distance. Now they looked back. Assessing. Judging. Waiting. What do you see? The Duke asked. The question caught the room off guard. It was not directed at them. It was directed at her. Alara hesitated. Not from fear. From choosing her words carefully. They are certain, she said. A few brows furrowed. Of what? The Duke asked. Of what matters, she replied. And they do not question it. A pause. The Duke's gaze sharpened slightly. Continue. Alara took a breath. They believe value is visible, she said. Measured by what can be shown. Title. Wealth. Alliance. No one interrupted. Not yet. But those things can be arranged, she added. Given. Taken. Built on agreement. A faint shift moved through the room. Not agreement. Attention. What cannot be arranged? The Duke asked. Alara's eyes moved across the table. From one face to another. Judgment, she said. Timing. Understanding what is not said. The silence deepened. They dismissed me. She continued, voice still quiet but steady. Not because they tested me. Because I did not fit what they expected to see. That landed. Not loudly, but clearly. The younger noble scoffed. Words, he said. Nothing more. The Duke did not look at him. He looked at Alara. Prove it, he said. The room stilled. Alara blinked. My lord, you spoke of judgment, he said. Use it. He gestured slightly toward the table. Pick one matter here, he said, and show them what they missed. Every noble straightened. Now it was not dismissal. It was scrutiny. Alara felt it. The pressure. The expectation of failure. She let her gaze move. Slowly. Across the table. Documents lay open. Maps. Reports. Letters. Pieces of decisions waiting to be made. Her eyes paused on one. A shipment report. Unresolved. Debated. She stepped forward. Carefully. Not rushing. She picked up the document. Read it aloud. Harvin said, tone edged with challenge. Alara did not look at him. She read. Clear. Precise. When she finished, she set it down. The issue is not the shipment, she said. A few brows lifted. It is the delay, she continued. That is obvious, the younger noble said. No, Alara replied. The cause is not. That drew silence again. She pointed to a line in the report. The delay is blamed on weather, she said. But the pattern does not match seasonal conditions. She picked up another document nearby. Without asking. Compared them. The route was changed, she said. Harvin leaned slightly forward. It was not recorded, he said. It was, Alara replied. Indirectly. She tapped the page. Here. Increased cost. Reduced speed. Same distance. A pause. Then realization began to spread. She is right, someone muttered. Alara continued. The shipment did not fail, she said. It was redirected. Why? Lady Morkan asked. Alara met her gaze. Control, she said. Someone wanted to shift value without drawing attention. The room shifted. Now it was no longer about her. It was about the implication. Who? Harvin demanded. Alara shook her head slightly. The report does not name them, she said. But the pattern limits who had access. Eyes moved. Across the table. Quiet suspicion. The Duke watched. Silent. Then he spoke. Continue, he said. Alara took a breath. If this continues, she said, you will lose more than shipments. You will lose trust in your own records. No one spoke. Because that was the real risk. Not loss. Uncertainty. Harvin leaned back slowly. Studying her now. Not dismissing. Reconsidering. The younger noble said nothing. For the first time, the Duke finally moved to his seat. He sat. Calm. Certain. You called her nothing, he said. No one answered. Because the word no longer fit as easily. She saw what you did not, he continued. In moments. Silence. Heavy. Shifting. He looked at Alara. Stand. She remained where she was. Not stepping back. Not shrinking. Just standing. The room saw it. Not the girl behind the pillar. Not the one they ignored. Someone else. Something else. Not fully understood. Not yet accepted. But no longer dismissed. The Duke turned his gaze back to the council. This is why. No one argued. Not immediately. Because for the first time since he entered the chamber, They did not have a ready answer. Silence held the chamber. Not empty. Not calm. It shifted. From dismissal to calculation. Lord Harvin was the first to speak again. Slower now. Measured. You found a flaw, he said to Alara. That does not make you fit to stand here. The words were controlled. But the meaning stayed clear. Alara did not respond. The Duke did. She does not need your permission to stand, he said. Lady Morcant leaned back slightly, eyes fixed on Alara. One observation does not secure position, she said. This court is not built on moments. It is built on sustained judgment. Then test it, the Duke replied. A faint shift passed through the room. That was what they wanted. But not like this. Careful, Harvin said quietly. You invite more than scrutiny. I expect more than hesitation, the Duke answered. The younger noble spoke again, though his tone had lost some of its earlier edge. Then let it be formal, he said. Not a display, a matter with weight. The room agreed without words. This would not end with a single exchange. Lady Morcant nodded once. There is a dispute unresolved, she said, between the Eastern Estates and the Trade Council. A servant moved quickly, placing a sealed document at the center of the table. Morcant rested her fingers lightly on it. Land rights tied to river access, she said. Both sides claim prior authority. Both present records. Both accuse the other of falsification. Harvin added, the outcome affects taxation, trade routes, and military supply. The weight of it settled immediately. This was not minor. This shaped control. Morcant looked at Alara. You will review it, she said. And you will give a conclusion. A pause. Then, deliberate, now. The document was pushed forward. Alara stepped closer. She felt it again. The pressure. Not hidden. Focused. They expected failure. Or at least uncertainty. Something to restore the balance they understood. She picked up the document. Broke the seal. Read. The room watched. No one spoke. Time stretched. Alara turned pages slowly. Not rushing. Not hesitating. Absorbing. Patterns. Gaps. Tone. What was written? What was avoided? She set one page aside. Then another. She asked for nothing. No clarification. No guidance. That alone shifted something in the room. Minutes passed. Long enough for impatience to begin forming. Then she spoke. The Eastern Estates are wrong, she said. The reaction came fast. Sharp. Immediate. They hold the older claim, Harvin said. They hold the older record, Alara replied. Which supports their claim. It supports what they wanted to show. That stopped him. She placed 2 pages side by side. These records match too perfectly, she said. Dates align without variance. Language repeats across documents written years apart. Morcant leaned forward slightly. You suggest fabrication? I suggest copying, Alara said. Adjusted to appear consistent. The younger noble frowned. That proves nothing. Consistency strengthens their case. Natural records carry inconsistency, Alara said. Small changes. Differences in phrasing. Human variation. She tapped the page. This has none. A pause. Then she shifted to another section. The Trade Council records show conflict, she said. Revisions. Corrections. Disagreement between entries. That weakens them, someone said. It makes them real, Alara replied. Silence followed. She continued. The river access was shared, she said, until one side decided to rewrite it as exclusive. Her gaze lifted. Direct. To increase control. Morcant's eyes narrowed slightly. And you believe that side is the Eastern Estates? Yes. Harvin studied the documents again. Longer this time. Slower. The younger noble said nothing. He read. Compared. The room shifted again. Less resistance. More thought. If she is right, someone said quietly, then the dispute is not equal. It is not, Alara said. The Duke had not moved. Not spoken. He watched, letting the room reach the conclusion without pushing it. Morcant leaned back. You speak with certainty, she said. I speak with evidence. Or interpretation. All evidence requires interpretation, Alara said. The difference is whether it follows pattern or preference. That line settled deep. Harvin exhaled slowly. The ruling would favor the Trade Council, he said. Yes. And weaken the Eastern Estates. Yes. A long pause. Then he looked at the Duke. She may be right. Not agreement. Not fully. But enough. The younger noble nodded once. Reluctant. But real. Morcant's gaze remained on Alara. You do not hesitate, she said. I consider before I speak, Ilara replied. And if you are wrong? Ilara held her gaze. Then I will be corrected. No defense. No retreat. Just acceptance. Morkan watched her for a moment longer, then shifted her attention back to the table. That is more than most offer, she said quietly. The Duke finally spoke. Make the ruling, he said. Harvin hesitated, then nodded. The Trade Council holds the stronger claim, he said, pending final verification. It was done, not loudly, but decisively. The first major shift since the Duke's announcement, and it had come through her. The room absorbed it, not comfortably, but fully. The younger noble leaned back in his seat, studying Ilara again. Different now, not dismissing, evaluating. Morkan spoke once more. You understand what this means, she said. Ilara nodded. It will not be accepted quietly. No, Morkan agreed. It will not. Another pause. Then, and neither will you. That was not a threat. It was a fact. Ilara felt it. Clear. Immediate. The Duke rose. Slow. Controlled. This is sufficient for today, he said. No one objected. Because pushing further now would risk exposing more. And they had already seen enough. For now. As the council began to shift, gathering documents, exchanging low words, the energy in the room had changed. Not calm, not settled, but different, uncertain, because something had entered the structure they understood, and it did not follow their rules. The Duke turned. Ilara followed. This time, the eyes on her felt heavier, not because they dismissed her, because they no longer could, and that made her more dangerous than before. The chamber doors closed behind them. The noise of the council faded, but it did not disappear. It lingered, like pressure behind a sealed wall. Ilara walked beside the Duke now. Not behind, not fully at his level, but no longer trying to disappear. The shift was small, clear. You did not hesitate, the Duke said. I did, Ilara replied. Before I spoke. That is where it matters. They continued down the corridor. Servants moved aside quickly. Guards straightened. Word had already spread. Not rumor now. Evidence. The Duke turned into a narrower passage. Less formal. More direct. This will not slow, he said. I did not expect it to. They will not confront you the same way again. Ilara glanced at him. How will they? They will move around you, he said. Quietly. Indirectly. She understood that. That was the kind of world she had lived in. They will test what you do not see, he added. Ilara nodded once. Then I will need to see more. A faint shift crossed his expression. Approval. They reached a smaller room. Not the strategy chamber. Not the court. Something in between. A place for controlled conversations. The Duke entered. Ilara followed. Inside, a single table stood near a tall window. Light cut across the floor in sharp lines. Dust moved slowly in the air. The Duke did not sit. Sit, he said. Ilara paused, then took the chair across from him. It felt unfamiliar. Not because of the chair. Because of what it meant. He placed a sealed letter on the table. This arrived before the council, he said. From who? He did not answer immediately. Read it. She broke the seal. Read. Her eyes moved slower this time. Not from difficulty. From weight. She read it again. Then looked up. It is a warning, she said. It is a statement, the Duke corrected. Ilara lowered her gaze to the page again. The message was clear. Not written with threats. Written with certainty. The Eastern Estates would not accept the ruling. They would act. Not openly. Not yet. But soon. They believe they can force a reversal, she said. They believe I will bend, the Duke replied. And will you? No. The answer came without pause. Ilara studied the letter again. They will not move directly against you, she said. That would expose them too early. No. They will target weakness. Yes. A brief silence. Then she looked up again. They think I am the weakness. The Duke met her gaze. They think correctly, he said. The words did not carry insult. Only truth. Ilara nodded slowly. I am new, she said. Unprotected. Unproven beyond today. Yes. They will try to remove me. Yes. Another pause. Then, quietly. Then I need to know how. The Duke stepped closer to the table. They will not strike where you expect, he said. They will create situations where failure looks like your own doing. Ilara listened. They will give you incomplete information, he continued. Then judge you for missing what was hidden. She understood that pattern. They will isolate you, he said. Limit who speaks to you. Shape what you hear. Ilara nodded. And when you act on what you are given, he finished, They will expose what you are not. Silence settled. Not heavy. Focused. Alara folded the letter carefully. They assume I will rely on what I am told, she said. Yes. They assume I will not question beyond what is presented. Yes. She placed the letter back on the table. Then they assume wrong. The Duke watched her. You will be tested soon, he said. I know. As soon as tomorrow. That is fast. They do not want you to settle. That made sense. Alara stood. Slowly. The movement felt different now. Less careful. More certain. I will need access, she said. To what? Everything you expect me to understand, she replied. Records. Reports. People. The Duke nodded once. You will have it. And freedom to ask questions. You already have that. She held his gaze. Then I will use it. A faint shift crossed his face again. Not surprise. Recognition. A knock sounded at the door. Sharp. Measured. The Duke did not turn. Enter. The door opened. A guard stepped in. My Duke, a message has arrived from the Eastern Estates. Alara felt it before it was said. The next move. It is addressed to her, the guard added. The room stilled. The Duke gestured. Bring it. The guard stepped forward and placed a sealed letter on the table. He withdrew immediately. Alara looked at it. Then at the Duke. They move quickly, she said. They were already moving, he replied. She picked up the letter. The seal was different. Not formal. Personal. She broke it. Read. Her expression did not change. But something in her eyes sharpened. What is it? The Duke asked. Alara folded the letter once. Carefully. They invite me, she said. To what? A private meeting. The Duke's gaze did not shift. Location. Outside the estate, she said. Neutral ground. A pause. They want to speak without you. Yes. Silence. Then the Duke spoke. You will not go. Alara did not answer immediately. They believe I am easier alone, she said. You are. She nodded once. That is why I should go. The Duke's expression hardened slightly. It is not a request, he said. It is not a trap meant to close, Alara replied. It is a test meant to measure. And you intend to pass it. I intend to understand it. A brief silence stretched between them. Then the Duke asked, What do you expect? Alara considered. They will offer something, she said. Position. Safety. Perhaps a way out. And if you refuse? They will learn more about me. The Duke studied her. Longer this time. Weighing. You assume control in a place you do not know, he said. I assume observation, she corrected. Another pause. Then, finally, he nodded. Once. You will not go alone, he said. I did not expect to. I will not be present. I did not expect that either. A faint shift. Agreement without comfort. When, he asked. Tonight. That drew a brief stillness. They waste no time, he said. They do not want me prepared, Alara replied. The Duke stepped back slightly. Decision settling. You will go, he said. Alara nodded. And you will return, he added. It was not a question. No matter what they offer, she said. I already made my choice. The Duke held her gaze for a moment. Then turned. Prepare, he said. Alara moved toward the door. Not slowly. Not uncertain. The game had shifted. From reaction to movement. And for the first time, she was stepping into it on purpose. Night settled over the estate without softness. Torches burned along the outer walls. Guards doubled their watch. Movement slowed, but tension did not. Alara stood in a smaller chamber, dressed in the same plain fabric she had worn before. No jewels. No display. Deliberate. A servant adjusted the sleeve, then stepped back. My lady, she said quietly. Alara paused at the word. It still felt unfamiliar, but she did not correct it. Thank you, she replied. The servant bowed and left. The room fell silent. Alara moved to the window. The courtyard below lay still, but not empty. Shadows shifted where guards passed. Patterns. Timing. Gaps. She watched. Memorized. A soft knock came at the door. Enter. The Duke stepped in. No escort. No announcement. You leave in moments, he said. Yes. He studied her briefly. You chose not to change how you appear. They expect it, she said. If I arrive as they imagine, they prepare for that version of me. And this they already dismissed. A faint shift. Approval. They will not remain careless, he said. No, Alara replied. But they will begin that way. He stepped closer. Listen carefully, he said. You are not going to win anything tonight. I know. You are going to learn. Yes. They will speak more than they intend, he said. If you let them believe you understand less than you do. Alara nodded. I have done that before. I know. A brief silence. Then he added, if it turns, you leave. I will. You do not stay to prove anything. I will not. Their eyes held for a moment. Clear. Direct. Then he stepped back. Go. Alara turned. Left the room. The corridor felt different at night. Quieter. But not empty. She moved through it with steady steps, escorted by a single guard. They reached a side exit. The gate opened. Cool air met her face. A carriage waited beyond. Unmarked. Simple. She stepped in. The door closed. The carriage moved. She watched through the window. Counted turns. Measured time. Tracked distance. The carriage slowed. Stopped. The door opened. An old structure stood ahead. Quiet. Chosen for privacy. A man waited. Confident. Alara, he said. You expected someone else? She asked. I expected hesitation, he replied. She stepped forward. No pause. No, she said. You expected obedience. A brief smile touched his face. Walk with me. They entered. Inside, a low-lit room. One table. 2 chairs. He remained standing. So did she. You changed the balance today, he said. I revealed it, she replied. You think that is the same? Yes. He studied her. They will not accept you, he said. I know. They will isolate you. They will try. They will remove you. That depends. On what? On whether I remain alone. A pause. Then he placed a document on the table. Join us, he said. Quietly. We secure your position. You gain influence. Protection. You will not be the girl they mock. Alara looked at the paper. Did not touch it. And the Duke? She asked. He weakens himself, the man said. We correct that. You remove him. We stabilize what he disrupts. She lifted her gaze. You fear him, she said. He did not answer. That was answer enough. You do not understand him, Alara continued. And you do? I understand what you are doing. Silence. He leaned slightly forward. You stand in a place that will break you, he said. I offer a way to stand without that risk. You offer control, she replied. I offer survival. Alara shook her head once. I survived before I arrived, she said. That is different. No, she said. It is the same. A brief pause. Then she added, you misread me. His expression tightened slightly. How? You think I was overlooked because I had no value, she said. I was overlooked because they did not know where to place me. She stepped closer to the table. Still did not touch the document. You make the same mistake. Silence stretched. Then he spoke again. If you refuse, you will not get another offer. I know. You will face them alone. No, she said. Who stands with you, he asked. Alara held his gaze. I stand with him, she said. And he stands with you? Yes. The certainty in her voice settled the room. The man exhaled slowly. Then, after a moment, he nodded once. Then this meeting is finished. Alara turned. Walked toward the door. No rush. No hesitation. Behind her, he spoke one last time. You are not useless. She did not turn. I never was. She stepped outside. The night felt different now. Clearer. The carriage waited. She entered. The ride back felt shorter. Not because the distance changed. Because something else had. When the estate gates came into view, she did not feel small. She did not feel out of place. She felt ready. The carriage stopped. The door opened. She stepped down. The Duke stood there. Waiting. Not at a distance. Not above. Present. You returned, he said. I said I would. He studied her. What did they want? To control what they do not understand, she said. And you? I made it clear they cannot. A brief silence. Then he nodded. Good. They walked back inside together. Not leader and shadow. Not yet equal. But no longer distant. As they passed through the corridors, the estate felt different. Not because it had changed. Because how she moved through it had. Servants looked. Guards noticed. No one ignored her now. Not after the council. Not after tonight. At the entrance to the inner hall, she paused. The same place where it began. Where she had stood unseen. Where the word had followed her. Useless. She looked at the space. Then stepped forward. No hesitation. No shrinking. The Duke stopped beside her. Tomorrow, he said, they will try again. I know. And the next day? Yes. And the next? Alara nodded. Then we continue, she said. He looked at her. For a moment. Then a faint shift crossed his expression. Not cold. Not distant. Certain. Yes, he said. We do. The hall stood quiet, but not empty. Not anymore. Because the one they had dismissed had not only been chosen, she had chosen to stand. And that changed everything. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more powerful werewolf stories like this one. And tell me in the comments which country or state are you from. And also let me know if you want more part of the story.